These are members of a Wednesday night community sing in Atlanta, Georgia. They have two things in common. They like to sing, and they like to drink. They are all alcoholics, including the grandmother at the piano. This is Linda. She's 27 years old.
I would get up in the morning, I would have enough without his knowing it. My husband wasn't aware that I was drinking of a morning. But I would get up and have 2 or 3, enough to get me downtown. Between 8:15 and 8:30, I drank from a half a pint to a half a pint. By noontime, I drank the same amount. That afternoon, I would have 2 or 3 more to get me through till after closing time was work, and then I'd drink about a pint at night.
This is Billy. She's 43 years old.
From about 16 years old till 27, I drank constantly, off and on. And at 27, I was committed to Milledgeville. Due to the damage I think that alcohol had caused, I broke down. Well, my family disowned me, and they've never had any use for me since.
This is Shirley. She's 24 years old.
I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I can do to straighten my feelings out. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to go to jail anymore. I don't want to feel like an animal anymore.
This is Joe. He's 47 years old.
I got too much to live for. You've seen my family, the photograph I showed you. I got too much to stay around for. At least I got to see them through.
This is Chuck. He's 52 years old.
I got the shock of my life one evening, the youngest daughter that's at home. Wife and I were arguing from opposite rooms, for heaven's sakes, across the hall. Both drunk. She stepped into the hall and says, "Will you two shut up? You're driving me crazy." She was bawling. I guess that's about the smallest I ever felt in my life.
And this is Bob. He's 37 years old.
To begin with, I know I'm wrong while I'm drinking. I know it. We're not happy. We are the most miserable people on the face of this earth.
We are the richest nation in the world. Our medicine is the most advanced. But for all our money and all our skill, the alcoholics among us are shamefully and consistently shortchanged. We prefer to ignore them, to neglect them, to reject them. We refuse to understand their torment. We question their character. We'd rather preach to them than respond to their plight. That's what the authorities in the field say, and they are right. In most communities, the only consistent interest in the plight of alcoholics is shown by Alcoholics Anonymous. It is a worldwide organization, and it helps many. But it isn't by itself the answer to the problem. Everywhere, the gap between what is needed and what exists is readily apparent. And everywhere, that gap is wide.
You have too much to drink tonight? Yeah. Huh?
This is the alcoholic everyone knows. He accosts you on the street for money. He's dirty, unshaven, reeking from cheap wine. We think of him as a worthless bum, a public nuisance, a legal headache.
You see if he has any weapons.
But there's also a human side, one which we tend to ignore.
What's it been like, Willie? What's your life been like the last 25 years? How'd you describe it?
Terrible.
Do people frighten you?
Yeah.
Do we frighten you now?
Kids frighten me. Dogs frighten me. Every time I see a bunch of kids walking down the streets, I cross the street, get away from them.
Well, what about when you're drunk?
I'm drunk, I ain't worried about nothing.
How do you get your money for your drinks?
I beg it.
You ever sell blood?
I sell blood. I sold more blood every 8 weeks I sell blood.
How much do you get for your blood?
$5.
What does that buy you?
Buys me $5 worth of drinks.
What do you do with most of your time?
I'm a lonely man. I just walk the street.
Why do you drink, Willie?
That's a hard question to answer, why I drink. You want the truth?
I want the truth. As much as you know the truth, tell it to me.
Well, I found out to myself, I drink because I'm lonely. I don't have no friends.
You have to
And I drink because I get lonely and disgusted. And sometimes I get angry at somebody and I drink then. But most of the time it's loneliness.
Do you know you're crying right now?
Huh?
Do you know that you're crying right now?
Yeah.
Why are you
I'm lonely
crying?
right now.
Right now with all of us in this room?
Yeah, I know. You probably ain't got a friend in there.
In most cities, derelict alcoholics like Willie are banished to Skid Row areas. As long as they stay there, the police leave them alone. But in Atlanta, it's different. There, people like Willie are repeatedly arrested for public drunkenness and shuffled back and forth to the city prison farm despite recent high court decisions which recognize chronic alcoholism as a valid defense against a charge of public drunkenness. This is Rudolph. He's been arrested hundreds of times.
When I came up here, I was treated as an ordinary criminal. I was processed and put on a work detail, and I've been working ever since. If a man is a man of money, you never see him in the jails, but a poor person is a victim of circumstances, more or less. We've turned out to be alcoholics, we've got nobody to help us, and we can't help ourselves.
What kind of help would you like to get?
I would like to get on some kind of alcoholic program, a rehabilitation program. I would like to have something to, more or less, I'm a nervous type anyway. I would like to have some therapy of some description and maybe take job training or something like that.
But there's more to the arrest than keeping Atlanta clean. The prison farm is the only place where Rudolph can be dried out. Periodic detoxification can be a matter of life or death. Every morning into this courtroom in Atlanta, hundreds of Skid Row alcoholics are brought before Municipal Judge Robert Jones.
All rise.
Be seated. Rudolph Hammond?
Yes, sir.
For all that we had learned about the revolving door in which people like Rudolph are caught, We didn't expect to see him in court that day. Not that soon. But there he was, arrested one day after leaving the prison farm.
Rudolph?
Just got out the stockade day before yesterday.
Of course, jail is no place for any alcoholic.
No, I don't believe that.
Everyone knows that knows anything about alcoholism. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn you loose here every morning.
No, I won't.
And let you come back again the next morning, and then again the next morning, again next morning.
I'm not going to do that.
Because I'm going to have to let you, if you come back several mornings in a row, I'm going to still send you out there to get you detoxified. Now, when they get the detoxification unit in, of course, it won't do this. You'll be detoxified at the time you're arrested. And then when you come to court, I'll turn you loose immediately. But until they do get the detoxification unit, I'm going to have to detoxify you the only way I can.
I won't be back down here, I don't think. No time soon.
All right, have a seat, Rudolph. Have a seat.
At the end of the session, the judge dismissed Rudolph. He left the court with a friend. Less than 100 yards away, across the police parking lot, was a liquor store. Rudolph, knowing that we were following, couldn't care less and headed straight for the store. He bought a pint of cheap whiskey and walked around the corner. Atlanta has a pilot rehabilitation program for Skid Row alcoholics, but Rudolph isn't ready for it. He continues to repeat the only ritual he knows. In St. Louis, Missouri, derelict alcoholics are no longer being arrested. The police treat them as sick people, not lawbreakers. Recently, they picked Harry off the sidewalk in downtown St. Louis. He was in a desperate state, mumbling that he didn't want to drink anymore. He begged the officers to empty a fifth of wine into the gutter. Harry had reached the periodic point where the alcohol had stopped working for him, where his body, undernourished and neglected, was being poisoned, and where his mind threatened to disintegrate.
What's his last? McCain?
McCain, M-C-C-A-N-N. You don't have a home address right now, do you, Harry?
What?
Are you married or single?
Divorced.
Divorced. And where was you born, Harry? What city and state?
Ashamed to say it.
Where was it? That's all right. Don't be ashamed of it.
Hannibal, Missouri.
Hannibal, Missouri.
Just empty your pockets.
He'll give them back to you, Harry. He'll give them back. You get everything back. 71 cents you got, Harry. You got nothing else in your pockets now, right? You don't have any money hid anyplace, do you?
I looked for $5 the other day and I couldn't find it. You can find it, I'll give you half of it.
In a way, Harry is fortunate. He couldn't pick a better place for his drinking than St. Louis. His chances of staying alive are greater there than anywhere else. They don't have a drunk tank there. Instead, they have a first-rate detoxification center, where a man like Harry is in a clean bed and receiving expert medical attention minutes after his arrival.
Harry, you gonna open up your eyes and talk to me? Go on, buddy. What's been drinking today?
Wine, another fifth I give the police for the little fifths of full rate.
5 pints of wine and a fifth of what? Yeah, you put out a pretty good one, didn't you? Have you eaten anything today? Let's see what we can do here.
Killed the beast in the end. So we got left.
Ten hours later, Harry was sober.
Do you remember us from last night? Do you remember sitting on the sidewalk downtown?
Yeah. I just sick from drinking, that's it. Just got the best of me.
Have you been here before? How long did you stay the last time?
7 days. That's 7 days.
Does this place help you, Harry?
Yeah, it helps me if I just help myself. I ain't got sense enough to help myself, I guess.
When you left here the last time, Harry, did you want to drink?
I said I wasn't going to drink anything when I walked out of the door. I prayed to God right over at that church that I wouldn't, but he didn't help me.
Do you know why you drink? Why is that?
Because I ain't seen my kid, but...
What did you say?
Because why, Harry?
I haven't seen my kid in about 26 years.
Is there someone you want to say something to?
There's one person I'd like to say something to.
Who's that, Harry?
A sister over in the convent.
What would you like to tell her?
To write to my niece and see if she'd take me back.
Where's your niece now?
Greensburg, Indiana.
Why don't you ask your niece yourself?
I couldn't write no letter. God, I just wish she'd be able to take me back.
Think she'll take you back?
I don't know.
Would you like to stop drinking?
Yeah,
Why?
so I could live a little longer.
Harry, what do you think's going to happen to you if you keep drinking the way you've been?
God only knows.
Alcoholics like Harry are the lonely men who long ago severed all connections with family and friends. They disappear from time to time, some to die on cold nights in a hole in the ground or in a jail cell during withdrawal. Others, when alcohol has destroyed their brains, live out their lives in mental institutions. They make up less than 3% of the alcoholics in this country. They are the most difficult to rehabilitate and the most neglected. Teresa is 4 years old. She knows a song about a sailor and one about a dog named Bingo. But this is the song she knows best.
He is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so.
Teresa's father is an alcoholic. For 28 days last January, he was a patient at an alcoholism treatment center in Avon Park, Florida. Away from Teresa, away from his 12-year-old son, Rodney, away from his 9-year-old daughter, Dee, and from the woman he married 13 years ago.
We had given up. We just decided while we were just through, we just wasn't going to have it anymore.
Well, he gets sort of mad at us, and he just seems like everything we do is always something wrong.
Well, he always wants money, and he goes looking through all the drawers, hunting for money.
She gets real upset, and she cries all the time because he goes to fussing, and then several times he's pushed us and knocked us around, you know.
He left no one untouched. He drank himself into an institution, drank his family out of a big house, flooded his wife and children with abuse, and left them desperate for money. And it wasn't the first time. But there is more to Bain than his destructive drinking. He suffers dark and restless periods, moods too frightening to endure without alcohol. He wants to know what propels him on periodic benders. He doesn't want to drink. He doesn't want to lose his family. That's why he came to Avon Park. And that's why he entered this room for the most painful confrontation during his stay at the clinic. With the family is Mr. Bowers, a counselor at Avon Park.
Do you know what kind of a hospital this is, Rod?
An alcoholic hospital.
And well, it's just the reason your dad's here, then, is that it?
Yes, sir.
For why? What was the...
Well, it was because of him drinking a lot.
Did you kind of wonder then why Dad was in the hospital? What was wrong? What did you think he was here for? Did you have any idea?
Well, yeah,
What was that?
for drinking, really.
What happens when Dad drinks, Rod?
Well, he just gets angry and he just keeps wanting money, and he usually gets us out of our house.
He gets angry and he wants money and then he kicks you out of the house?
Well, he doesn't actually kick us out. I mean, it just, he gets us in such a spot that we just don't have hardly any money.
You get in pretty tough spots when Dad gets drinking like that.
Yes, sir.
Does it scare you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How about you, Dave? How do you feel when Dad gets drinking?
Oh, I feel nervous, too.
You feel nervous, too? And you get scared, too, sometimes?
Well, as soon as Mama, as soon as we find out, is then...
As soon as you find out what?
As soon as we find out that he's starting.
Then what do you do then?
Mostly I just go with Mom.
That's when you feel real bad. As you see it, what happens when your husband gets drinking? What is...
Well, when he starts in, he doesn't quit. What I mean by that, if he starts drinking today, this has to go on for days, maybe weeks, maybe a month. And then this is when it really gets disgusting, because all this length of time, he won't work. He doesn't do anything. He fusses, he gripes, he wants money, and he demands it from us, regardless of whether we eat or what have we.
So then you're kind of, well, kind of walking on eggs, I guess.
Right.
That part of the time.
It's always this feeling when he drives up, well, is this the day?
Then, you know, it sounds like you're kind of sitting on a time bomb waiting for the thing to go off.
Right. That's just about what it amounts to.
Mr. Davis, what do you think about what your family's saying?
Not saying, I'm not denying that I don't need it. I need this.
What is it? You feel kind of guilty about what, some of the things that they've been talking about?
Certainly. No, I think anybody that thought anything of his family, he would. I have, I don't know, I just can't explain it. I've never really tried to help myself in the past. I'd say I would, and gone to AA and things of this nature, and doctors, and have all intention, but which I would straighten up, and I don't, I never, without trying to find out the reason. And I'm convinced now there's reasons for it.
Have the two of you ever talked really about alcoholism, about, you know, what you're talking about right now?
Not really.
The only discussion that we've ever had about alcohol is what I have done to cause the trouble and what we were going to do in the future, such as, you know, I was going to straighten up and this and that and the other, but I don't think we've ever really got down and talked to where what may cause it, such as, of course, we know I'm 95% of it. And I feel like maybe 5% may be yours and the children. I mean, it's hard for y'all to realize it, but it could be.
Well, I realize that.
Of course, I've never heard her mention the word love yet.
You haven't?
No.
What was that for, Dee? Have you heard it? Have you heard the word love? How do you, as a family, how do you express love in this family? How do you know that you love each other, or if anybody does love anybody?
Well, now, my feelings is this. I do little things for him. I don't go around saying I love you, this sort of thing all the time, because I don't feel like that's necessary.
Well, what do you think would happen if you did?
Well, I don't know. He'd think I was out of my mind, probably.
Would you?
But,
She doesn't express it that way.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question I asked. Would you think she was out of her mind if she said I love you?
No, I wouldn't think she was out of her mind, but I would think there was kind of a change.
Would you like you'd like to hear that, I guess, wouldn't you?
Occasionally, yeah. I think every man would if he loves the individual, he'd like to hear it. We've discussed this before, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it isn't going to be easy what you're talking about to express how you feel. I think probably you have just as difficult a time expressing feelings of irritation and annoyance as you do feelings of love and affection. And so this isn't going to be easy for you. And I don't think it's going to be easy for you either.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you're going to have to consciously work at.
It has now been 3 months since Bain left the clinic at Avon Park. He still hasn't had a drink. And he's still struggling with his drinking problem.
Let it go. Cry me a river if you feel like it, Shirley.